So hello and welcome back to Podcast with Neil on Netflix Football, the UEFA Champions League semi-final matchup between Real Madrid, the Royal Whites, and the London Blues of Chelsea. And to describe this mammoth task ahead of us, we've got our expert panelists tonight. So joining me one by one on screen right now, to my right is the lawyer himself, Mr. Abhishek Datta. Below him, the ever-present family man, Chantanda, and to his
Hello.
left, Armband Media owner, founder, and a philanthropic guy has lots of ideas regarding football analytics and football analysis is Mr. Sourav Bose, who is still single, by the way. So, ladies, if you're looking for the perfect man, he's just below me. So, since this is Abhishek Da's debut on Netflix Football's podcast with me. So, I'll just ask Abhishek Da, how does it feel to be actually a part of a podcast in a pre-match crunch time against Real Madrid in the semi-finals?
I was a bit skeptical to come today because of the superstitions that I was of the view that till date I have not did this. So let's not do this just to keep on doing the superstitious, whatever you call it. But then I thought this is the first or probably the only time that I'm going to see Eden Hazard against Chelsea in a Real Madrid Whites, and this is the match that I've waited for years. So this is probably the only chance that I will get. So I just decided let's go on with the superstitious and join this.
So talking about superstitions, whenever Podcast with Neil has covered a Chelsea match, Timo Werner has got either an assist or a goal. Chelsea have won all their matches. And contrary to that, whenever Podcast with Neil has covered a Real Madrid match, Real Madrid have won all their matches. So this is going to be an interesting time. One fan base is probably going to kill me tonight. I don't know which. Let's hope it's not you guys tonight. We can wait for the second leg as well. So, okay, let us have the lineups on screen right now. So, okay, yeah, we are on the lineups. As you can see, let's starting with the Chelsea lineups. So, okay, Edouard Mendy on goal, Anders Christensen in defense. So that's a quite okay. Just a second, technical glitches. I think it's this is better. Edouard Mendy on goal, Anders Christensen, Thiago Silva, and Antonio Rudiger making up the defense. Cesar Azpilicueta and Ben Chilwell out, making up the fullbacks. Kante and Jorginho in the midfield, Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic, and informed Timo Werner up on the top. So a glance at the Real Madrid lineups very, very quickly. Thibaut Courtois starts at goal. Eder Militao, Varane, and Nacho make a three-man centre-back partnership in a revised change by Zinedine Zidane. Dani Carvajal and Marcelo, the wing-backs. Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, the ever-present midfield for Real Madrid. Benzema and the Vinicius Junior, who was the match winner against Liverpool, start up top. So go straight to Shantanda. First with the Real Madrid lineup, what are your thoughts on actually Zinedine Zidane pulling a rabbit out of the hat and starting three at the back for the first time in the Champions League?
Zinedine Zidane over the past few matches have tried out this formation. They were basically playing the 3-4-3 against some of the teams. And then there was some talks also that he might go to play a 3-4-3 to match the Chelsea lineup. But what he's tried to do here, at least as per the lineup, is that he's tried to overcrowd the midfield with extra bodies of the wing-backs, which are there. So over there, the central defensive holding midfield of Kante and Jorginho would be put under pressure. So basically, the midfield is going to win this game, basically. So what Zidane has done is basically try to block out the midfield and see any other way out for his team, because the way that Chelsea play, Real Madrid expect a lot of possession from Chelsea, because right now after in the Tuchel reign, you see Chelsea playing a lot of possession football. Though chances are less, they try to walk the ball into the net. So they are trying to take out those short passes of the midfield. That is why there is an option of crowding the midfield with five midfielders. You might see some rotation up front with a hybrid 2-1 also with Real Madrid if the chance arises in the second half.
So clearly, quite a lot of tactical nuance to go over there. Sort of very, very quickly, your thoughts on the Chelsea lineup. I'll just highlight them in a bit. So you were saying that Cesar Azpilicueta on the wing back slot is quite a dubious choice considering his apparent lack of pace. So what's your gonna be the say on that factor?
I was actually pointing out the fact that Aspilicueta would have been a bad choice in the right centre back position. So I was happy. I'm quite happy that he isn't playing in the right centre back position because whenever Real goes on counter, they are going to use the pace of Vinicius Junior, and this is where actually Aspilicueta lacks. I mean, he lacks the pace, even though he's an experienced player and he's the club captain right at the moment. But he cannot. I mean, if Vinicius gets behind him, then it's over for Aspilicueta. So I'm quite happy to see that Christensen is playing at the right centre back position, and probably looking at the lineup, Tuchel is going for a kind of I mean game management type formation where like get a draw and that would be enough. So we will play the second leg at our home, so then we can play our football and however we want. So it's kind of a game where we will just pack the defense and look for the counters like we did against West Ham. It's kind of like that where so many of our opportunities, I think, will come from the left side of the pitch, where Chilwell is very consistent going forward, and he can also track back. Whereas Azpilicueta is not. I mean, he's not. He's no longer that fullback that you want. So will like run up and down the flank for 90 minutes. So he will. It will be sometimes more like a back four. Azpilicueta will come down, so more like a stable back four if Real decides to press with three players, and then we can commit extra man in the midfield with Chilwell. And also, I think Mount will drop because otherwise it will be a 4 versus 5 in the midfield because Madrid is already playing with five midfielders. So Mount will drop to make it a 3-5-2 versus a 3-5-2. So what Chelsea will look to do is to cover actually the five vertical lanes. So the wing backs are already on the wings and the half spaces are open. So say the ball is on the right side, then Kante will shift to the right half space. Jorginho will stay central, and then Mount will drop to the left half space. If the ball is on the left side of the pitch, then Jorginho will stay central. I'm sorry, Jorginho will move to the probably left half space. Kante will stay central, and Mount will drop from the left half space. And also Pulisic can drop on. It's not like the Pulisic will have to stay up front because he's not good in the air. So you also want him to drop and dribble past the initial press that Real Madrid have liked. So I say this is a good lineup. Now it all depends on whether Timo can find the goal tonight or not.
So it's a date for Timo again. So very interesting comment by Srayan. He says Zidane knows it will be very difficult to break down the current Chelsea defense. So he seems to have set up to deny Chelsea an away goal. So we know how the tactical exploits of Zinedine Zidane were. We'll go to the tactical analysis segment in quite a bit. But before that, थोड़ा promotion कर दिया जाए. So shouting out to tonight's sponsors is Vice Chims. Vice Chims, अच्छा, I have not shared the screen. मार देगा अभी वो picture नहीं दिखाया तो. चलो, okay. So Vice Chims is a retail marketing company, guys. So they have been in this scenario for quite a long time. So if you're looking to grow your business not futilely, very fast. So Vice Chims are the place to go. They have worked with various numbers of YouTubers who are in the limelight and they are experts in the social media domain. So if you know where to contact them, it's Instagram at Vice Chims Kolkata. So do hit them up. थोड़ा मेरा नाम भी बोल दिया करो, शायद कुछ कमीशन भेज दिया तो ये गरीब भाई थोड़ा अमीर बनेगा, 5 पैसा भी अमीर है मेरे लिए अब. So okay, back to okay, so some little bit थोड़ा और promotion. Do follow Armband on Patreon. I have linked them in the description. Sourav is doing amazing work, fantastic work. We have planned a lot of collabs together, so that would be announced very, very soon. So stay tuned to my channel and to Saurav's Patreon for further updates with Podcast with Neil X Armband. So let's hope the collab goes very well. So Abhishek, the lawyer in disguise. So I'll ask you. So the cat's already out of the bag considering the UEFA Super League, not the UEFA Super League, the European Super League that was in continuous news, in continuous demand, and in continuous threshold of the supporters. Not because it was something revolutionary, but it was something reactionary. Now, the Chelsea fans were the first ones to actually stand up for such a cause. actually protest vehemently for such a magnanimous, what they call is the poor man's game. It's everybody's game. So just your 2 cents on the fact that how the Chelsea fans actually came together and actually started this wave of revolution that ultimately helped the European Super League yield and back to the Champions League format. So your thoughts on this?
Initially, it was started by the Chelsea Supporters Trust. They are the first one who actually had a meeting with the club officials and the management, and then the first time they came up with a tweet, I guess, where they said that they will protest this thing vehemently with their management, with our management, with Roman, everyone who is involved in the board. And then they clearly said in the tweet that in under any kind of situation, under any kind of promises, they will not support Chelsea playing into the European Super League. So when this thing came out, so whatever happened afterwards is actually written on the wall. The moment that Chelsea Supporters Trust came up with the tweet, see, we can see when things started coming into the news that there's a protest going on outside Stamford Bridge. There are lots of rackets going on. Petr Cech came out having a discussion with the supporters and everything. But the precursor of that protest was started way before that, when the Chelsea Supporters Trust came up with the idea and then engaged with other clubs from England who are a part of the European Super League, and they're, you can say, it's fan forum or anything, fans trust, or any kind of fan body or something. So that is how they have arranged it, and the protest that they have organized outside the Stamford Bridge was actually very meaningful. It actually helped the entire thing breaking down. If you go through the live feed of that protest, you will see that when Petr Cech came out, initially there was lots of chaos between supporters and Cech and the officials who are posted there for maintaining law and order. Finally, situation got under control, and then Petr Cech kind of, we can say, promised the supporters that they will look into it, they will talk about it, and they will not let the supporters down. After saying this, he went inside the stadium, and then 20 minutes later he came out and he said, we are withdrawing. So if you are looking for a point of ignition, that was not the protest. That was what started before the protest actually happened.
Yes, Abhishek da? Abhishek da?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So basically, I thought that you froze for a moment. So basically, you're saying that the point was that Chelsea. You highlighted it very clearly that after 20 minutes when Petr Cech came out, that was the thing that the supporters wanted to hear, that we are not participating. Shardunda, very quickly, your thoughts that what if the European Super League had been formulated, and it was formulated none other than the president of the club that you're facing tonight, Real Madrid, and clearly they haven't withdrawn from the idea. Barcelona haven't withdrawn from the idea. There's just this. Laporta just said that there would be a vote, and we'll leave it up to the officials. But on an honest scale, what Real Madrid planned was it just for their own benefit, or was it just for the benefit of all the clubs in world football, not just these eight, but for all the clubs in world football? Just a different perspective in things, if you put forward to it.
Okay. Number one, Perez stated that football fans 16 to 24 years and above, they don't find interest in football. I don't know on which channels he's watching the football or to which stadiums he's going to. Number one. Number two, as a fan, I will not want to watch a Barcelona versus Real Madrid, even as a neutral fan, 5 times in 2 months, because it takes away the charm. Big games are important because they are played so less. For example, today's game, Chelsea versus Real Madrid, is only the fourth time these two are meeting in the history of UCL Champions League. Can you believe that? Half of us wouldn't even know that. So that is where the charm is. Overall, if you, for example, get 10 clubs playing each other with no relegation, it is as good as ISL in Indian football. Unfortunately, the AIFF support it. So the world is now protesting. We Indians are also protesting. But look at what is happening in our backyard. It's the same thing. ESL may be good for some clubs for money, for more money, because they think UEFA is taking away the money, and it will be in their control if ESL is formed. But but 10, 12 teams cannot rule football. They cannot tell football fans to watch the El Clasico 5 times in 2 months. And how many times would they play each other over the course of 7, 8 months? Wouldn't it be like, अरे यार क्या हो गया, in a month 2 बार रियल मैड्रिड जीत लिया, 2 बार बार्सिलोना जीत लिया, बात खत्म. So it's a diluted idea. And I think, see, these other clubs, including Chelsea, they are stating that they signed and then they came back. Some are saying that he some didn't know the commercials of it or how the fan backlash would be. See, if you're taking away promotion, relegation from football,
Then what is
then
left to fight for?
then you don't love football, because there are stories. You should go and see the stories of Blackpool under Ian Holloway, who came up from the fourth division, and to earn promotion into the Premiership. In, I think,
Or
if
even
I'm
an
not
Aston
wrong,
Villa side who
even
beat
as
the Bayern
yeah,
Munich seed of Karl-Heinz Rummenigge in 1981 in the Champions League final.
yes, yes. So you should. That is passion for football. Blackburn Rovers winning the Premier League. There are so many stories even now with the current managers of teams like Brighton and Hove Albion. They have come. I think 3 or 4 seasons they have been promoted. Look at Swansea FC. Look at Leeds United. So these stories cannot happen in ESL, because यार मुझे तो guaranteed है. I am guaranteed. I will not go down. So why should I worry? I will leak money out of fans, and I'm going to tell you, if the ESL would have gone on with all fans also, the support would not been the same, because the same person will not want to watch the same match week in week out at the same stadium.
Right, that's absolutely correct.
You
Considering the
understand? So
stories,
that is yes. So if as a fan, I'm telling you, Mohun Bagan East Bengal happens in Calcutta. If it happens 4 times in a month or 4 times in 2 months, I will not go to watch, because dude, where is the charm? It is gone. I don't know financial wise what the club owners are making, but this is basically taking away the love passion of football. I mean, as a Chelsea fan, I started supporting Chelsea from 1998 for a reason which is not relevant. But the important thing is that we were not winning anything at that point of time. I did not select, for example, a Real Madrid to support who already had so many trophies. I could have easily said, "यार, Man United support करते, golden era चल रहा है, we will not falter." But look at their fans now; they're yearning for a trophy under Ole. So these passion, this passion, emotion, love for the game cannot be driven out just like for an ESL for 10, 12 clubs. It is not a long term solution, not at all. And I don't support it, and neither does the clubs from England, apart from the two clubs in Spain who have not yet withdrawn.
classic story, because all the amazing stories that we heard from the Leicester triumph, the Nottingham
Yes.
Forest diaries, absolutely amazing. This would have never have happened if
No.
Arsenal and Tottenham, for fuck's sake, Tottenham, who don't have anything on their trophy cabinet. Like, I was just seeing a meme on Twitter where they said that there was a huge sandstorm all over England. Why? Because somebody by mistake opened Tottenham's trophy cabinet. So that's the quality of level. Teams like Wolves, teams like Leicester, teams like, there are lots of West Ham, for instance, with Lingard are performing better than Arsenal and
I mean,
Tottenham.
I'm telling you, I was in UK for a year and a half for my MBAs, and at that point of time, the support from, you just said Wolverhampton, right? The support for Wolverhampton, Millwall, a club which is trying to get up into the Premiership, Wolverhampton, who is a yo-yo team, but now stabilized under Nuno, the massive fan following would leave big clubs into shreds, and they are basically hooligans. They would do anything. So these clubs have a huge fan base in English football, and they form the crux of the English football. You cannot take it out and say that you play your league and I will play my league.
Absolutely, because if anybody has watched Peaky Blinders over here, so that was
Obviously,
set in the Midlands in the 1800s. So you can
yes.
understand where the rivalry comes from, the Black County, the Midlands Derby, West Bromwich Albion. So these are the stories that would have long been dusted into the history books. But thank God it's not. The English clubs have withdrawn. So okay, just getting back into topic, Abhishek, the lawyer in charge. So some one player has, apart from Tottenham, one player has been rolled apart very, very much after his big money signing. it was Timo Werner, and Thomas Tuchel did not hesitate in saying that Timo Werner needed a date and used that reference in terms of retrospecting it with a goal. And he has had a goal in the last match against West Ham, and it was a very well taken finish. Your expectations on from him, because if I'm not mistaken, he is the highest goal getter for Chelsea. He is the highest assist maker for Chelsea in this season, and this is not even his best performance. He has been dubbed all over. So, do you think there's more to expect, Abhishekda, from Timo Werner in the oncoming season, or the penultimate and the ultimate game if Chelsea progress in the Champions League?
At this moment, I am keeping patience with Timo Werner, like simply because you cannot judge a player simply on the reason of a one season. First of all, we have to count the variables as well. Like he has changed the league, he has changed the country, also the kind of football they used to play in Bundesliga. Now, when you're coming back to Premier League, the style or the physicality of the league goes up quite a few notches. So he has to get adapt to this system, this new atmosphere, new plan. And in between the seasons, we also had a managerial change, like from Lampard to Thomas Tuchel. So he has to get time. He should get time and should get adaptability factor also into this before we start actually judging him. See, time is not running around that we have to do this thing by this year end, or it will be all over. We should keep our patience. We should back him when he is down, also when he is performing well, so that his confidence can go on, make him perform better, keeping us the consistency factor in check as well. So I don't know about tonight, but if you ask me, that I would say that I would surely go for Timo Werner throughout the time, till the time he is getting his mojo back. Now, when I'm saying that, okay, you said that he probably got the most number of goals for Chelsea, most number of assists for Chelsea, and which is not even his best season. So I am not comparing this season with his Bundesliga season simply because the factors have been changed, the variables have been changed. So going forward, I see Werner will get improved, Werner will settle down finally, and from next season we'll finally get to see the actual performance from Timo Werner, for which he was this much famous when he was playing in Bundesliga. Also, another factor that I want to add here is the kind of a personnel change. Right. We have to understand that when he was in Bundesliga, he was simply famous because of the counter-attacking play. Right. If you see his goals, most of his goals are from countering attack. Like that is why he is known as Turbo Timo, because of his superior pace and everything. But right, in this season, we have played built-up game. We have played counter.
Current issue. ये होता ही है. This happens. Previous viewers of podcast will know. Either मेरा कैमरा गिरता है और किसी का करंट जाता है. And whenever this has happened, the team that I am covering majority has won. So this can be a very good shagun. Sort of just take over for Abhishek meanwhile while he gets his power back. Sort of just as Abhishek was saying that how Timo Werner's game has changed, how Timo Werner's aesthetic has changed. Just highlight that with the changes in XG and XA from his Bundesliga days to Chelsea days. Is it the factor of, because always XG and XA are the factors of a team gameplay. So just make us understand that for a noob like me, how are the analytics looking on this part?
Firstly, analytics is something that you need to look at in the long run. As Abhishek was saying, that you cannot judge a player based on one season. What he meant was that you cannot judge a player data based on like one season. If you look at a finisher, say for one season he was outperforming his XG, then right, most of the time he is called one season wonder. Like from say when Harry Kane first scored 20 plus goals in Premier League, he was called one season wonder because he had one good season, and then in the season he outperformed his XG. And for those of you who don't know, outperforming XG means that you are a very good goal scorer over if you outperform it over a long period of time. And by long period of time, I mean say over a course of a season. Say a player is outperforming his XG for 5 games or 7 games, then that means that the player is in good form. He's not a good finisher. I mean, outperforming over a short period of time doesn't really, reveal anything about a player's finishing ability, whereas outperforming over a long period of time reveals a player's finishing ability. So if you look at Timo this season, XG depends on from where a player is taking a shot. So if a player is taking his shots from closer to opposition's goal, which is Timo's case, he hasn't taken a lot of shots from outside the box. Most of his shots has come from inside the box. So it signifies that he is able to get into the penalty box. It signifies that he is able to get into good scoring positions. It signifies that he is getting to high XG scoring positions, which means that positions which are favorable for scoring a goal. It's not like that he is randomly shooting from midfield or something like that, or like from
So
wing.
just sort of
Yes.
just one thing. So it me just to explain to the audience. So it means that the more you're closer to the goal, the
Right.
higher XG coefficient. Is it that case? It is just explain to us.
Most of the time, yes. Because think of it this way: if you are inside opposition's penalty box, you have a higher chance of scoring a goal. I mean, if you just think logically, than if you are from outside the penalty box. Now, say if you are at a corner of a penalty box, for example, not centrally, but say at a corner of penalty box, and you can curl the shot in. So it's a difficult shot to take in. So
Right.
sometimes from within the penalty box, there are positions which are like tough to score from. Like say
Right.
from the corner of a penalty box, where you have to curl the ball in, or you have to be a good finisher. You have to be a Lionel Messi or something like that to put those balls into net. So those positions have low XG, even though you're shooting from within the box. So for Warner, most of his shots have come from
So
centrally.
scoring
Like,
from a low
yeah,
XG position is
yeah,
that means he's outperforming his X. So if let's say Timo Werner scores from the edge of the penalty box with a curled effort from the
yeah.
from near to the byline, probably let's say 25-degree angle, if that sounds fair. So is that outperforming his XG because that he'll get a huge boost on his analytics because he scored from a very less probable angle?
This is what I meant was that say Warner
Right.
scores a curler tonight, for example, but
Hmm.
he's doing it in short term because you are just looking at one game. Say
Right.
probably say probably tonight luck was with him, or let's say probably tonight it was just his day, for example.
Hmm.
So on a player's day, the player can curl a ball from like outside the box. Outside the box, the player is shooting and is converting into goals. And we have seen so many examples. Like for 5 games, player is shooting from outside the box, and everything he's like just shooting is
Turning into
converting
gold.
into goals. So this is why you cannot judge a player based on short term. Yeah, a player can
Right.
do that in 5 to 10 games, but what about 38 games, like, or 50 games that he's going to play? He cannot do that every single time. This is why it's very important to get into good scoring positions, or by good scoring positions, I mean high XG scoring positions.
Right.
What the example you used in that case, I would say that look, XG of a shot cannot be more than one. I mean, it has to be
Right.
less than one because
Right.
if we so say if he curls a shot from out, say from the edge of the box, curls a shot, then that will have what say point 3 xg or 0.2 xg,
Right.
for example. So the xg will be 0.2 and the goal will be 1. Okay, so the
Right.
goal will be 1 and xg will be 0.2. So outperforming xg will be 0.8 if you just
Right.
subtract it.
The
But this is
deficit.
but it's a short term. I mean, just one game. If he does it over a period of time, over a course of a season, then he's a good finisher. But if he does it in short term, then that means he's in good form. Say a very good example of it would be Greenwood, for example. When Greenwood
Right.
first came into the first team for United, he was like whatever he's shooting, just getting into goals. But it signified that he was in good form. He was scoring from low XG positions sometimes too. But after a short
Right.
period of time, the goals stopped coming. And this is what I mean, that whether a player is a good finisher or not, you have to look at the long term. Say sometimes even 2 seasons, for example. You cannot judge a player
Right.
based on one season. And about the XA part, XA is something that shows that how quality a pass has to get converted into an assist. To put it the
Right.
simplest possible way. Say,
Right.
and Warner has given some passes that has like uh, heavy. Uh, a good amount of chances to getting converted into goal, because he doesn't give a lot of passes which are like above the ground. Most of the passes are like touching the ground. So these type of passes have higher XG most of the times, and also most of it.
Because you
Yeah.
can control them easier considering a ball that is lofted
Yes,
over.
yes,
Right.
of course. Yes, and also say if a player is passing you to your chest, then you have to just bring the ball down and then shoot. But if he's passing to your feet, then you just have to like place it, or sometimes you use
So
a
as
mini.
per so
Yeah.
just to shorten it up, Saurav, so you're saying that an XA or an expected assist is higher whenever it is easier to control and how fast you can take the shot from it, right?
Yeah, these two factors are there, and also a third factor is there, which is the ending point of the pass. Say
Okay.
if your pass
The
is good, if your pass
trajectory.
is, yeah, not only the ending point, like where is your pass ending?
The
Right.
Let me
pinpoint
explain.
pass like that.
Yeah, let me explain. It's like, say your pass is on the ground, your pass is on the
Mhm.
ground, and it the for the shooter it's easier to control and to take a shot away. It's easier, okay. But say the pass is ending outside the box. Say your pass is ending outside the penalty box, but you play a second pass which is ending within the penalty box. So those two passes have the same characteristics, but the ending points is different. One is ending outside the box and one is within the box.
Right.
So of course the one within the box will have higher xg. I mean, if the shooter takes a
That
shot
is
from there, that will
converted.
have a higher xg. In other words, that have a higher chance of getting converted into a goal. So in the second scenario, that will also have a high XA, because if that converts into a goal, then you get an assist. To put it simply, then. So the ending point is also important.
Absolutely. Brilliant analysis from Saurabh.
Very
So
nice.
you can absolutely didn't have this much idea about XGs and XAs before Saurabh decided to pull a masterclass over right now. So you can follow this kind all of his analysis and analytics as he likes to differentiate in his Patreon. So just it's linked in the description. Just hit it up and experience more of Saurabh masterclass. So right now, let us. I think Abhishek Da is done for tonight. I don't think he is. He will be joining. So
He
let
was,
us move
I
into the
think he's enjoying rain, enjoying the rain probably.
living
If
in
his
Kolkata.
current, I think
Huh?
he's in Hyderabad. So
Yes, he
Huh?
is in
targeted
Hyderabad.
at yeah. So I think if his current is gone, how will he watch his match? He's unable to come back here. I doubt he might miss the match.
So he was so superstitious. God made him. Let's hope that he is
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
been able to watch a match. But the
correct.
thing is that just I was saying that living in Kolkata and talking about rain at this conjuncture is torture. Trust me, it is torture. So okay, moving on to tactical analysis segment right now. So Shantanda, so
Yeah.
this so talking about I also discussed this slide. There are a lot of tactical slides, so I have ample amount of time to discuss that.
Hmm.
So okay, let's take a comment. Okay, question for Saurav Da, who is Rohit? I'll answer the question. Someone who does not approve my posts. Okay, Rohit फिर से रोने मत आ जाना. Okay, Shantanda. So
Yeah.
this 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 particular setup I actually gathered from my search engine, where it showed the heading that the mark of Thomas Tuchel, right? So as
Okay.
you can see, the reason I had selected Wolves is that I had a premonition that Zidane might might just end up with a back three. So I had backups for over this, and this came in handy. So
Okay.
Wolves usually are known for how they line up with a compact midfield overlapping with wingbacks,
Yes.
and how they pressurize the midfield into the opposition giving away the ball. As you can see, this
Yes.
pentagon over here, which,
Right.
if I'm not wrong, is Real Madrid's plan for tonight in overcrowding or
Yes.
overpowering Chelsea's
Yes.
midfield.
Yes.
If you're Thomas Tuchel, how do you break this pentagon?
See, if I'm Thomas Tuchel and I'm looking at this lineup, I would, in all probability, let Real Madrid come at me a bit more and open up the midfield before I would before I would attack, or look at it from this point of view that apart from possession football and playing in front of the defense, when such kind of a situation arises that Madrid is overcrowding the midfield, we would rather want Madrid to come at us and then look at an outage maybe out at the wings, or not through the middle but maybe at the wings, through which we can do the counter attacks and utilize the pace of Timo Werner, and Mount up front. Other than that, if the midfield five of Real Madrid really sit like a pentagon as mentioned here, the only other out ball is lofted balls behind their defense with runs of Timo Werner. But looking at the Chelsea game plan after Tuchel, it will be very
Hmm.
hard to see that in case Real Madrid is pressurizing us in the middle of the field, we would go into a direct conflict with them and try to win off the ball, because we have seen that we are pretty comfortable holding the ball near our goal passing it out from the back. So in that situation, we would rather let Real Madrid come at us and then look for an outage, maybe a long ball or a good pass, as Saurav would say, and XA turning into an XG. So we would most probably go into that, and most probably at that point of time, Timo Werner and the wing backs would play a big role.
Absolutely. So as you said that Zidane, you would expect Zidane or you would want Zidane to actually come to you guys, and that's what Liverpool expected. And this is the slide that I have next. Is so let's say I have a Liverpool slide. Okay, let me just bring on the Liverpool side slide right now. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the one. No, okay, so this is Barcelona. This is the Liverpool one. This is the second leg where Liverpool actually came at them,
Hmm.
and they were very comfortable actually sitting back and holding this position. Now,
Yes.
if you count Casemiro, who maintained this position throughout, because in the second leg versus Liverpool, he was the one playing deep instead of Cruz on the first
Yes.
leg. So, how would you actually decipher this? That are Real Madrid very comfortable? Because they will invite you, they will ask you, they will let you have the ball, they will ask you to come forward, and once the transition of play is there, they will pass that long ball, hoof that long ball up to Vinicius Junior, and they will attack, especially considering Aspilicueta has started, and that's a clear mismatch, isn't it, Shantanda?
Yes, it is. I mean, even though if he's not playing as a as a central of the back three, one of the back three, even as a right winger, it is very surprising that Azpilicueta has got the nod in front of maybe a Hudson Odoi, because once Vinicius makes that run, it will be very difficult for him to track back unless he's not going to advance and stay at behind the central line in case of Madrid attacks. For me, that is a part of the field which may hurt Chelsea in this game. And looking at this lineup, see, since this was the second leg and already they were 3-1 up, uh, basically they have held a back four and two sets of fours with the central. So there's basically nine people who are there except the goalkeeper, and then they are inviting only because they know that they have a 2 goal cushion. But whether Real Madrid would go straight away into this kind of a mode against Chelsea is yet to be seen, because from what I get is Real Madrid would be happy to let Chelsea not score in this match. Basically, look, and
Absolutely.
their
What
away
Ryan
game.
says actually highlights
Yes,
that. He
yes,
says that
yes,
this particular Real Madrid lineup looks very similar to the West Brom lineup versus Chelsea, and we have seen how Chelsea struggled to create chances in that match, where an
yes,
initial 5-4-1 becomes a 3-5-2. Zidane seems
yes.
to have done his homework research. Zidane always
Yes,
does his
yes,
homework.
he's spot on with that. Now, whether Chelsea has learned from the West Brom game to tackle such a system is totally up to the players, and I'm sure they're well versed with how the system will work. But being the first leg, I would say that Zidane doesn't want to concede and wants to go into the take it into the second leg, and maybe some of his defenders may be fit, and at that point of time he might want to, based on the defense, he would want to play an attacking game and take the game to Chelsea. But that being said, I ideally think that in this tie, Chelsea has the upper hand merely
Right.
because their players are fit and Real Madrid doesn't have all the full squad. And as much as I love Hazard and I would want him to come up and play against Chelsea, I would rather say Chelsea has the upper hand and has all the tools in their armory, even from the bench, to hurt Real Madrid if they can not overthink and play simple football and try not to walk the ball into the net.
Right. This is a common theme that I have seen with the Chelsea, that they try too much to actually get more tap-ins. Now, sort
Yes,
of, yeah, Shantanda.
no, I was just agreeing with you that this is like the Arsene Wenger of 2000,
Yes,
of the early 2000s, where all his goals under Audi, were tap-ins. They're trying to walk the ball into the net. It's overpassing within the penalty box or within the penalty. So it doesn't need so much. So that if that clarity is there in big games like this, the clinical finishing and the clarity of thought would really help Chelsea get over such matches.
right. Sort of very quickly. This is a slide. There are two slides actually. This one and this one, both against Tottenham. So Tottenham basically depend upon systematic actions. That is, they close down spaces very quickly. So Real Madrid will be looking to do that with that high pressure midfield. Although Fede Valverde is not starting, but Cruz, Modric, Casemiro are no slumps in midfield because their interception is very high. So you'd expect Chelsea to crowd. If you remember the Porto match with Chantanda and you, I discussed this in detail that how Porto revolve in the midfield with a rolling block of a square or a rectangle in whatever shape they can. And probably, if I'm not wrong, Zidane plans to do that. And you can, as you can see, it is highlighted by a rolling man marking block wherever the systematic action is or wherever the ball is in possession. The players tend to rush over there to make an error that is caused due to the press. So Chelsea, what they do is Mason Mount is very clever. If you can see, the reason Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi have been combining very well through that right half space and that right wing back position in the early days of Tuchel was because of the pace and the intricacy that and the camaraderie that these two had. And in the second lineup, it's combined that in the defensive transition of this slide of the same match, Chelsea are the one who are actually implementing that systematic action where they are pressing man for man, not with a rolling block, but just for man for man. Now, considering how the man marking position got got Liverpool in a fix, do you think Tuchel would actually number one, would Chelsea be missing Aspilicueta, missing Callum Hudson-Odoi in such situations where a crucial 1-2 was necessary, and number two, would this backfires what just like it did for Liverpool?
Okay, so in the first slide that you showed in the Tottenham match, it was a movement called third man movement where Hudson-Odoi passing to Jorginho, and Jorginho is using the space ahead of Mount to supply him with the ball. So it's called a third man movement, but you can only pull it off when the opposition's defensive line is stretched. You can see that the gap is in front of Mount, but there should be one defender at least. But as the defender is following Mount, so the gap has opened up there. So I don't think Real Madrid will press Chelsea in that way. They will rather may keep a compact three, and then will rather use Casemiro as a ball winner as a
See,
shield
like in this
or
slide,
yeah, like
Casemiro is free as a ball winner.
yeah, as a single six in front of the three. So if say Cruz drops, for example, sometimes Cruz drops and operates as a center back sometimes to just distribute the ball very well. So then the wide center back can push high up, and they don't have a problem because Nacho is there and he can play as a fullback. So that block can shift if Cruz decides to drop, and also Modric can push high up. So
See, you can see
there are
that
so many.
Cruz is dropping
Yeah.
over here in this lineup. It's the exact position that he
Yeah,
tends to occupy.
if Cruz drops, then one of the wide center backs can move into the wing or like the wide region, and or like can shift to the center, and then Nacho can shift into the fullback position.
Right,
So that
right,
will also allow the wing backs to push high up.
right,
So regarding the Liverpool match, look, there are a lot of things that went wrong because like they maintained a high block, and in the first leg they maintained a high block and they didn't press. And in the second leg, the slide you are showing, you can see that there are no Liverpool player in between the lines,
right,
and the player who is on the wide left region is only one player, which is Sadio Mane, and Sadio Mane is someone who likes to have the ball on his feet. And but if we are going to have Chilwell on that position, who is not the one who with the ball on his feet. He is someone who can fix the run, who can cross the ball in. So
right.
these are like different characteristics, even though like the you can say the intention would be the same. It's like as Shantana mentioned that we're playing Aspilicueta to simply like get a draw or keep a clean sheet, and if we get
Like
a goal.
even see this Real Madrid compact back line that had against the El Clasico. So Real Madrid, you expect Real Madrid to defend, don't you?
Yes, I mean, look, they don't have a problem to let Chelsea go wide because look here, they are allowing Barcelona to go wide. They're not marking their wide players, so they're allowing Barca to go wide and then cross the ball in because they know that Barca don't have a player with height. They know that Messi and Griezmann will not go and like hit the ball in. Same with Chelsea. Chelsea don't have a Giroud in the starting lineup. They have Timo Werner and Pulisic, and both are like not so good in the air. Mount is someone who
Right,
is good with ball on his feet. So they will allow Chelsea to go wide, and then they can cross the ball in
Absolutely.
because they have Varane, and all the three centre backs will stay compact. And if Chelsea puts the ball in, then Casemiro can also drop and help out the defense. So they don't have a problem with letting Chelsea go wide and let Chilwell have the ball or Azpilicueta have the ball. Or if say, sometimes Mount drops in the wide region to create an oval or a triangle, they will allow Mount to do that too. So they don't have a problem to let Chelsea go wide. They will rather, as you can see, that they have the wide centre backs in the half spaces. They will
Yes.
protect the half spaces and
Yes.
make a compact in the center.
Because that's the
This is
space where
yeah.
Timo Werner and Pulisic maximum
Yes.
their heat map is.
And yes, and if you look at this current the slide you're showing, if you look at the Real Madrid back line, there is no space to play long ball behind the defense, because if you play behind the defense, Kurta will clear it, or Kurta will catch the ball. So this is the
Right.
kind of block that Real Madrid can easily shift to if they like score one goal early, or like if they go 1-0, they will simply just sit in that way. Whereas if Chelsea go 1-0, or if Chelsea score a goal, they will not press like Liverpool. They will stay back, or say start their press from the midfield, because then Cruz can play the long ball, but there is no space behind Chelsea's defense. The problem with Liverpool game was that they were letting Cruz play the long ball, but there was also space
Right.
behind the defense. But if you don't leave the space behind the defense, then you can let Cruz have the ball as much as he wants, because then you
Absolutely. Because
then they,
they
yeah
tried to kill
because
two birds with one stone and kill themselves instead.
yeah. So
Okay, so around 14 minutes to go for the match. I hope that was a pretty interesting tactical session by both Shantanda and Saurav. So, just to conclude very quickly the prediction segment as usual. Saurav, again a Mendy goal.
yes, 1-0 Chelsea. Mendy scores.
Hopefully,
It's
it's not
working.
Ferdinand Mendy.
It's working. He's out. He's out. So I don't have an issue.
Okay,
He's out.
Marcelo starts. Shantanda, your predictions for tonight's game.
I think Werner goal or assist. One more point is that this the stadium that they're playing in, it is not very wide. So I would again say that action down the wings may not be that much. So again, like I said in the Atletico podcast as well, you might see going through the middle and some Werner, or maybe if Havertz is rotating in that hybrid front three with Mount, Werner and Havertz, any one of them scoring. But mostly I'd put my money on Werner to score.
Okay, so Prakhar says Madrid 2-0 Chelsea. So, we have a Madrid fan on the house. So, one
Yeah,
thing I
that is
wanted
in
to touch.
ESL. That is in ESL, and that's not Chelsea. That's CSL against some other team, maybe Juventus or maybe
Okay.
Barcelona.
So Ryan has a very good point. That Chelsea have done very well from set pieces this season. So three-man defense for Real Madrid, because Rudiger, because Azpilicueta, because Thiago Silva are all excellent aerial threats in both of the boxes. So that pretty much makes sense. Rohit with the comment of the season says Saurav's gonna make Chelsea win the CL by stat padding about Mendy's goal in every podcast session. It's Mendyism. Okay. So as per my understanding of the game, as Saurav and Shantanta discussed, I'll just sum them up very, very quickly. Is that this is going to be a game where Real Madrid are on the back foot and allow Chelsea to have the ball, because Real Madrid will look to conserve some energy and hit them on the second half. As we have seen, their heat map or their work rate has been more in games, for example, 35th to 41st minute period, and after the 60-minute period when the opposition tires. And judging Zidane, the know-how he puts and the effort he puts into the game, deciphering the tactics of the opposition, he well knows that Chelsea struggled against a five-man midfield in West Brom. So he'll make the game very difficult. He'll close down those spaces. And as Shantanda mentioned that the pitch is not very wide, I can almost hear Klopp crying again. So the run down the wings from Chilwell and Azpilicueta on either side will be limited, because Marcelo or the Nacho will be covering those half spaces, and the midfield three or the midfield five, in whatever position they are, will be covering down, and either one of Cruz or Modric will be going in that defense. So it's a very,
Yes.
not a deep block, but essentially a block of the half spaces. So if Chelsea were to win this, they have to be very intricate, and sincerely considering where Real Madrid's average positioning will be, there would be very limited amount of long balls or balls over the top of the defense. So my bet is Chelsea coming away with a 1-0 goal, Timo Werner to score, because that's always happened with podcast winning. Either a goal or an assist from Timo Werner, a 1-0 from Chelsea, and if Chelsea decide कि हाँ आज मुझे defending करना है सही से, Rudiger turns into prime Maldini what he has been displaying, then it's very difficult, because Vinicius can be caught by any two of the defenders, and considering
Yes.
Chelsea don't maintain that highlight, so I bet that that's gonna be the case. Okay. So around 10 minutes to go for the game, I'll let you grab your beers and the popcorn. So this is a grand semi-final tie. And as a Man United fan, I'll just go to sleep. So that's
Yeah, just one more point I want to add.
sure.
See, if you, I was listening to somebody and who told me that whenever Chelsea's had mid-season changes, you look at the first time we lost against United at Moscow. Avram Grant was changed into the Chelsea manager. Then again, Di Matteo won it as a half manager,
Yes.
half-season manager. Then Goose Hitting took us to the semi-finals. So this year again, Tuchel half-season, we are into the semi-finals. So twice we have not won. So maybe this time lucky.
Third time lucky is the charm. So benefiting from that doubt, but it's a long game to go. Everything cannot be decided on paper, but everything
Right.
can happen. What we discuss in podcast with me, and that is people come with betting advices to us. Like that's the state of the show. Like I appreciate I appreciate that. I appreciate all the support. Thanks, Sourav Da. Thanks, and thanks. I am
Thank
calling
you.
Sourav Da. What the hell is wrong with me?
You should.
Okay, we'll see you pretty soon. Thanks, Saurav. Thanks, Antanda, for joining in on such short
Thank you
notice.
so much. Thank you so much.
And
Pleasure.
absolutely. And Saurav's tactical discussions are a treat to watch as always. Linked on Patreon in the description. Do follow Armband over there. यार नहीं इतना promotion नहीं किया तो सौरभ मारेगा मुझे. Jokes aside, he's doing brilliant work and love to support all what is going on here. Thank you guys for joining in. Let's hope for a very good game. See you probably on the second leg with a few more Madrid fans.
Definitely. So,
Definitely.
see you.
So, chalo,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Mendy to
Bye.
score the winner.
Yeah.
Chalo.
Yeah. Chalo.
So that was pretty much it about it from Podcast with Neil. This is your host and your favorite one as well. So if you're wondering how to support me, you can hit that subscribe button. You can also GPay me. So Nightbot would have been mentioning. So this is the comment. So if you want to support me, you can donate to his channel via GPay. This is my number. Finances are running a bit low. I have been out of a job for more than 1 year. So you can understand it's a bit difficult. Savings ekdam katte katte nikal ja raha. Not everyone is a Roman Abramovich these days that I have an oil or of Sheikh Mansoor. So if you want to genuinely support me, you can donate on my GPay. You can sponsor, you can add your products on my channel. You can ask me to sponsor them, give me shout outs, and as well in any way that would be acceptable. But due to this lockdown and pandemic, the monetary gain has been all over the place. So expect all the love and warmth to continue. थोड़ा greenery भी दिख जाए पैसे का. So let's hope we don't get demonetized again very soon. Not getting into political jokes anymore. Those are not good for my health. So clearly, let's hope that it's a good game tonight. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. As a Man United fan, it sucks because we should have been in this position. But all credits to the ones that I've got here. Let's hope this is a preview to proper final. What Rafael Varane told that this is going to be a final, not a semi-final. So 7 minutes to the game. Let's grab your beers and your popcorns. And as I said, I'll just go off to sleep because kya kare? Thursday nights FC we move. Chalo, this is your boy Neil for Netflix Football. Wishing you the best of the game. I need to work on my ending. Like it sucks every time. Like okay, चलो खत्म करते हैं. सब्सक्राइब कर देना, सब्सक्राइब कर देना, शेयर कर देना और चलो कुछ डोनेट भी कर दे तो बहुत अच्छा है. चलो bye bye for now. Let's see you on the next one tomorrow. It's Man City against PSG, the tail classic. चलो bye bye for now. Let's see you very soon. This